Hello and welcome. Talkin really here, and you won't be surprised to hear that there is another report from the United Nations regarding the treatment of disabled people by our government and the DWP. It's shocking because this is Labour now who are pushing this agenda, and the UN have got involved again. They've been forced to intervene. Well, what they will do, I don't know, because they are a toothless, useless waste of time. I think I'm correct in saying that we've had four reports. But this is another story, so let's have a look. It's in the Canary.
Shame for Labour as the UN is forced to intervene again over the DWP. The United Nations, UN, has called on the Department for Work and Pensions, DWP, to scrap the contentious two-child benefit cap and to immediately end the 5-week waiting period for universal credit. This plea comes amid an alarming poverty crisis that has left many vulnerable families struggling to make ends meet. The UN, intervening over the DWP. The UN's recommendations were part of a broader report on tackling poverty in the UK. They have raised significant concerns about the state of human rights, with Jess McQuail, director of Just Fair, a charity advocating for economic, social and cultural rights, highlighting the disparity between the UK's self-described reputation as a leader in human rights and the reality faced by its citizens. In her remarks, McQuail stated, "The UK government presents itself as a global leader in human rights, but these findings tell a different story." She further emphasized that the current government's decisions are perpetuating a cycle of poverty that undermines citizens' rights and called for immediate action to ensure a decent standard of living for everyone. The 5-week wait for universal credit has been a long-standing issue affecting countless disabled people and families who depend on timely financial support. Critics argue that this delay exacerbates hardship for those in most need, pushing them further into poverty. In response to the UN's intervention, a DWP spokesperson stated, "No one should be living in poverty. That's why our ministerial task force is exploring all available levers across government to give every child the best start in life as part of our plan for change." While the DWP claims to be actively addressing these issues, people with lived experience tell a different story. Furthermore, the DWP outlined the government's alleged commitment to increasing the living wage, uprating benefits, and implementing a fair repayment rate on universal credit deductions for some of the UK's poorest families. However, many are questioning whether these measures will be sufficient to truly alleviate poverty or whether they simply serve as a facade to cover up more systemic inadequacies. Universal credit, not fit for purpose. The UN report has prompted various advocates, including Lord John Bird, the founder of The Big Issue and a crossbench peer, to respond with urgency. Bird stated, "This UN report is another indication that the government must take poverty seriously." He argued for a cohesive approach to address the root causes of poverty rather than only treating its symptoms. Bird highlighted that public services, such as the NHS and schools, are presently overwhelmed by the consequences of poverty, often unable to provide preventative solutions that could help lift individuals out of their circumstances. The stark reality is that without a substantial DWP policy shift, the long-term effects of continued inaction could be catastrophic, not just for the well-being of families, but also for the functioning of vital public services that many depend upon. No teacher, doctor, police officer, or prison staff is adequately trained to combat the complexities of poverty. They find themselves addressing the detrimental consequences instead. As this dialogue continues, it remains clear that the situation is dire for many in the UK, especially for job seekers and families reliant on social welfare. The UN's appeals for change, coupled with that of campaign groups, suggest a significant disconnect between government assurances and the lived experiences of those struggling with poverty. The DWP, being watched. Of course, this is not the first time the UN has intervened over the DWP. The UN Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, UNCRPD, has for nearly a decade been a vocal critic of how UK society treats disabled people. At its worst, the UNCRPD accused successive governments of grave and systematic violations of disabled people's human rights. So, as Starmer and the Labour Party government weigh their options moving forward, the eyes of the nation, and indeed the UN, are firmly fixed on their next steps. The responsibility now lies with the government to align its actions with its promises and address the pressing concerns of its most vulnerable citizens.
So there you go. That's the end of the story there. Just another brick in the wall, as they say. And you won't be surprised to hear this story will continue. That's it from me. Have a very good day. Catch you later. Oh, hello. Sorry to interrupt the video. Just to say that if you're interested in and keen to watch new episodes before they come out, the best way to do that is become a Patreon. And you can do that very simply. Just go over to patreon.com/Andy Wright Online and sign up for a monthly donation, which can be as small as $5. Which is hardly anything. If you think about it, you can probably get a cup of Costa coffee if you're lucky. But $5 a month will allow you access to all of the videos that I'm going to be bringing out in the next few months. And you will get them at least a week early, so you can entertain yourself with the new episodes. Sorry to bother you, but now back to the video.